Welcome back to Our Yellows Walk. It's episode 36 of this season. Only 4 more to go. And on this week's episode, we're talking about that victory at Hillsborough, Sam Long, and how many more points for safety? 4 left. We're also getting the panel here to choose the player of the season, so stay tuned for that. And will you agree with their choices? We've got Sam, Connor, and Sam back with us. Thank you for joining us. Sam, was that one of the sweetest wins at Hillsborough this weekend?
I mean, it capped off the most Oxford United week of Oxford United weeks. I have to say, beat the team who were top of the table, and then put in a shocking performance against QPR, and then pick up only our second away win of the campaign. Massive points. I think we're 2 away from safety in my view. I think that 50-point mark, which is usually, other than last season, been the magic survival mark for Championship sides, is going to be enough for Oxford United. A couple of big games in the last 4. So hopefully we can pick up those points. But it was obviously there was a lot of kind of apathy from Sheffield Wednesday fans, and the situation they're in. So heard one of our friends at Sheffield Wednesday talking about how they players are pretty much on the beach. So I don't think they cared much about it. But for us, it was a huge result.
Yeah, Connor, you accepting that 2 more points will see this through now? I mean, it's probably not going to come against Leeds. We'll get into that in a minute. But do you see yourself now as safe?
Yeah, I don't think it's utterly inconceivable that 48 points might even be enough, just with the way that the fixtures have laid out. And everyone down the bottom below us have still got to play each other, bar Plymouth and Cardiff.
Yeah, it's the points, isn't it? And not just the points, but it's the traffic in between you as well. You're not going to have 7 teams all reach your total, are you, with 4 games to go? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's also what I'm looking at. But I'd slightly disagree with Sam. I'd prefer 3 more points. 2 more points might well do it, but 3, particularly at Cardiff, will do. Sorry, Mark. I can hear myself echoing through your mic. Am I really bad on audio?
All good here. Right then, Sam, let's talk about that Sheffield Wednesday game. Who impressed for you?
I got to say, I think Sam Long really stepped up. He gets a lot of stick from fans online, but when called upon, he is Mr. Oxford, isn't he? Really. So I know we called Cam Mr. Oxford, but he put in some real big shifts when called upon. From the playoff final to Saturday. So.
Yeah, we saw lots of these similar tweets here. Lloyd saying, Sam Long, I apologise for saying you're not championship quality. You, sir, are the man. Sam, why does he get so much abuse, if you like? Is it deserved, and does he shut a lot of people up?
I think it's got kind of a couple of things to do with it. A lot of it comes down to the fact that he's played with us since League 2 level, so there is a lot of kind of the increase in quality is a big impact on that. Also the fact that as much as I've always been one of Sam Long's biggest supporters, I call him the Bista Baresi for a reason. But I think there's definitely a case that he has struggled at times. The step up to the Championship is obviously a massive one. But it was so fitting him to get that goal against Wednesday at the weekend because, it was 10 years on from when he got stretchered off in a League Cup game against Sheffield Wednesday. So, as I'm delighted that Long is getting the plaudits that I've been giving him for a while.
Yeah, Mr. Oxford, Connor, I've seen written about him. Yeah, are you having that title?
Yeah, I'd guess so, because as Sam said, 10 years, he's been there well over 10 years. He's there through his youth development. There's been he's come into contact with countless managers, countless coaches that were there. We call Kyron Brown because of the loyalty that he's shown us, Mr. Oxford, when really, in reality, it is Sam Long that has been Mr. Oxford. He's scored numerous important goals as well, that not being the only important goal. I think back particularly to, remember during lockdown, boys, against Gillingham, coming back down from 2-0 down, when stepping up at big times, as you say, coming off coming on in the second half of that semi-final against Peterborough last year, coming on in place of Finn Stevens in the final last year, and that crunching tackle getting the crowd going. So I have been, I will admit, I have been probably unfairly critical of Sam Long at times, because at times I don't think that he's really been, on paper, he's really been our strongest player at the back, or at times even the strongest player on the pitch. But I'm very, very happy to take my medicine time and time again and be proved wrong.
Just staying with you, Connor, just for this next one, actually, because me and you have had a lot of discussion about Will Volks over this season. In particular, I know he's made several key errors, and you've called him out for it rightly and wrongly. It was the Will Volks derby, of course, against Sheffield Wednesday. How has he done over this season? Just sum up his contributions as a whole as an Oxford player over the last 7 months or so.
Well, I think that there's, with Will Volks, there's two sides to Will Volks. You talk about either the player on the pitch and then also the man off the pitch, because it's been quite a heavy year both on and off the pitch for Oxford United. At the start, for whatever reason, whether it was how Des was wanting to play or whether it was coming into a new environment, moving back down south, the first game against Norwich, you thought we have a proper championship player here, but it just didn't go well. It wasn't going how we expected it to go. But as Rowett's come in, he's just changed him, made him look a bit more at ease. He's looked a lot more sophisticated as a championship player. And Rowett has probably said to him, like, at set pieces, especially at throws, we found a thing for you. You're the man. And that's where all of our goals have come from the past few games. And then when we're talking about Will Volks, the man off the pitch, he has really been, as Oxford is such a community-based club, and it being the only professional sports club in the county, has really stepped up in his ambassadorial roles for mental health, for community, and it's been something that the club really, really values. So in that respect, he's fit in like a hand in a glove.
Thanks for that. We've lost Sam temporarily for a second there. So Sam, we'll come to you for this next one. Here's a player that I really like watching. How good was this guy at Hillsborough?
Another outstanding performance for me. Just outstanding. You know, his engine is unbelievable, and you know, Connor talking about Volks in midfield. He needed some help in there. You know, with a two-man in midfield, he couldn't just hold on his own. So stepping the extra man in next to Volks and allowing Matos to be the engine. Yeah, he was sensational Saturday. Don't think there was a blade of grass he didn't cover.
There is little chance, Connor, that we'll be seeing him in an Oxford shirt next season, unless it's another loan.
I think that of all of our loan players, he's probably the one that we have the most chance of re-signing, if I'm thinking straight off the top of my head. I don't think that there's an opportunity that we'll be able to get him in permanently, or whether Chelsea, if they're going to send him back out on loan, we'd love to take him back in, because there'll be an opportunity for us, especially under Rowett, to build up higher up the table, or whether Chelsea say, okay, we're going to send you out, but to a more established championship club.
Okay. One last thing, the manager of the season is going to get announced soon, and no doubt it'll go to Farker or to Scott Parker, no doubt. But should Gary Rowett be on the shortlist for what he's achieved, Sam?
I mean, there's always a shout with that. I think I read if Rowett started the season or something, or coming under his tenure, we'd be 8th with the points he's got. So yeah. I totally get it with Des. You know, he was the Oxford man to lead us. But if you take the emotion out of it, it's actually been a really, really smart decision.
Okay.
You know,
Sam, welcome back. Cheers, Sam. We're talking about whether Rowett should be on the shortlist for manager of the season. Simple yes or no.
I don't think so. Not based on the fact that, sure, we've had some really good runs. Obviously, when he came in and started really good under Gary Rowett. But, there are more deserving candidates. As much as I hate to admit it, Frank Lampard's got to be on that list for the way he went into Coventry in a similar position to where we were when Rowett came into us, and obviously Coventry have got a much better squad than we have, but the turnaround he's had with them is absolutely phenomenal.
I still think he's an amazing job. We have to keep in mind, don't we? We keep saying to Portsmouth as well. Your budget in comparison to Coventry, even in comparison to Hull and teams around you, is a splash in the ocean to what other teams have spent. We've just seen the amount that Oxford has spent on agent fees, which is one of the lowest, which is the lowest in the division as well, which again tells you everything. Right then, 4 games left, 2 in 4 days over this Easter weekend. I love football at this stage of the season. Hopefully you'll be loving it as well. Now, our Sheffield United fans were very complimentary about you when they played you and would like you to do them a favour, please, this Friday and beat Leeds. Connor, is there any chance of that happening?
There's a chance, albeit slim. But on a serious note, we're a good side at home, generally speaking, across the course of the season. We are a decent outfit at home. If this was at Ellen Road, I'd be a lot more pessimistic. I generally think that there is a chance to get a point here. I don't think that there's a chance because before I came on looking over the past few games, Leeds in general have had on average around 15 shots. And with those 15 shots, only a few are on target and they're hitting the back of the net. And teams that they've come up against and that they've conceded have had 3 or 4 opportunities and have scored. And that might be something that's all that we need. Let's be honest, we're probably not going to get another goal from open play, maybe for the rest of the season. So anything that we do is just going to have to be down to excellent game management, maybe playing Leeds at their own game, because I'm sure that's what they're going to come do. They're going to try and wind us up a little bit. Okay. But I think it's going to come down to game management, especially when we're getting throw-ins around their box area.
Yeah, I don't mean there's any disrespectfully, but this is the sort of fixture I think when you promoted you probably looked for, wasn't it? When a Leeds visiting, Good Friday, it's going to be a sellout, Sam, I'd imagine as well. No one's in work, everyone can have a few beers, sun will be out. Should be a good game, except the scoreline, perhaps. But it's really Monday, isn't it, Sam W, that where you're looking more towards. Cardiff are in disarray. They themselves say they're heading down. Is this another chance? Can you would you take a point here? Because it stops them picking up 3?
Oh, it's an interesting one, this game, because obviously, like you say, they're in a awful state. They are looking, obviously, one of the light sides to end up going into League One. Obviously, right here, right now, off the back of the result we had, I'd say no, 1 point isn't enough. I'll take 3, but I'm just wary that our away form has been shocking this campaign. Look, there's obviously, if you look at Cardiff's game against Portsmouth early in the campaign, Cardiff dominated that game. That they were 2-0 win, but it could have been even more ahead. So it is a chance for us, but we also need to be wary because they will be fully up for it. If it's a case of it's one of those games, if they get points, they might be able to survive, and obviously might determine the fate of Callum O'Dowda.
And then Sam, it's Sunderland who are already saying the last 2 games they're probably going to rest all their players ready for their semi-final, so you may not see a full strength Sunderland, and then a Swansea side which are already have nothing to play for. So this isn't really doable, isn't it? And as a neutral, obviously, we're delighted that teams like Oxford can come up, spend a decent amount of money, and through good management and good football can stay up.
I mean, this is Oxford, so the points can come anywhere. We sort of said in our blog that it would be typical of Oxford to win against Sheffield Leeds and Sunderland, and then lose to Cardiff.
Okay.
But you know, if there's a chance that Swansea could relegate Cardiff, I think they won't even show up. To be honest, so that's
well, there is another point. Yeah, that I was going to throw in there. If it's between you and Cardiff, Swansea are going to be lying down horizontally for you to walk that ball in the net. Right. Finally, then this week we're choosing the player of the season. 36 weeks we've been chatting on here now, so I hope there's a good bank that you can draw on here. Few contenders. I can't predict where you're going to go with this one. Sam, let's start with you in the right hand corner there. Who's your player of the season, please?
What, for Oxford or in general?
For Oxford, please. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sort of torn between this, but I'm going to go with Kyron Brown. I just think he's really, really stepped up. Stepped up when Moore's not been there. You know, all right, he's not the captain, but he's a leader at the back. He's blocked everything. He's played consistent. All right, he's got an injury now, but he's played consistently week in, week out. I've got to give it to Kyron, I think.
Connor.
Yeah, Kyron Brown for me. He's just been Mr. Consistent all season. He's been an absolute rock at the back. He's slotted in when he's been called upon and when he's needed to. The other player that close behind him obviously will be Jamie Cumming. Amount of shots that he's made this season, amount of saves. He's kept the scoreline down in a fair few games this season. I think he's made himself look like that he's a decent championship keeper. And then I also want to give a little mention to Greg Leigh, because I think that he's really stepped up this season as well from League One, and he's been called upon at the left back position. He's not only is he doing defensive work well, but also his attacking threat, as we've seen through some of his goals this season, been really, really vital.
Good stuff. Finish off, Sam.
It's going to be 3 for 3. Kyron Brown. Yeah. Club today released the poll asking for fans' votes, and I think a lot of people will joining myself in voting for Kyron Brown. As the lad said, he's been absolutely incredible at the back. This was a really, really important campaign for Kyron Brown, because obviously when he left Cardiff, there was a lot of questions of, is he championship quality? And he stepped up. He's played, left side, centre back, left back. He's played well in both positions. And like Sam said, when there's been, we've had injuries to Elliot Moore, to Cameron Brannigan, he has stepped up in that leadership role when called upon. I think he has been an incredible player in this team this season. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be much competition other than, obviously, as Connor said, I should say, Jamie Cumming, made some really big saves throughout the campaign.
Brilliant. Okay. And how sweet that he might relegate Cardiff, of course, as well. Right. Our final question this week is a one-word answer, please, if that's okay. We're looking for the surname of the player which you have been most impressed with, who has not played in front of you in an Oxford shirt. We're looking for the player that you've seen at the Kassam or away from home that you have tapped your mate on the shoulder and gone, wow, I wish they played for us. Connor.
Easy for me. Finn Azaz, Oxford 2, Middlesbrough 3. Still have nightmares. He absolutely tore open our midfield and our back line. It was the most beautiful and yet the most horrific thing to watch at the same time. That kid's going to be in the Premier League in the next 18 months. Unbelievable player.
Sam.
Yeah, I've got to go with Azaz. Again, another close one. I think Chris Rigg for Sunderland will be played Sunderland away. And Joby, to be fair, I think they just ran the show completely. But yeah, I've got to go with Finn Azaz, home and away. He was a menace.
Sam?
I'm going to go with Ayo Tanaka. I didn't know what to expect for this lad when he came into Leeds in the summer, and he's really, really impressed me throughout the campaign. Not just when he played against us. I really like him. He uses his body really well. He's ability on the ball. He's superb. Yeah.
Yeah, Leeds fans hands down gave it to Ayo Tanaka as well. Brilliant. Right, thank you very much. We'll keep everything crossed for you this weekend against Leeds, and Sheffield United and Burnley fans also. We'll be hoping you can do them a favour as well. We'll see you both in 7 days' time to review how it's all gone. Thank you very much for joining us.